I still wake up some nights with the logo burned behind my eyelids, a red circle, a white triangle inside, and a single black dot in the center, like an eye that never blinks. Except it never existed. Not on any box, not in any commercial, not in any memory that anyone else shares. I'm Alex Harper, 32, and what happened to me in the summer of 2019 in the little town of Ashwood, Vermont, started with that logo and ended with me questioning every single thing I thought I knew about reality. You're going to think I'm crazy. Hell, I thought I was crazy. But I swear on everything I have left, this is exactly how it went down. It began on a Tuesday in late June. I'd come back to Ashwood after 8 years away, college in Boston, a string of dead-end graphic design jobs, a breakup that left me sleeping on friends' couches. My mom had passed the winter before, and the house on Maple Lane was mine now, a sagging Victorian with peeling green paint and a porch that creaked like it was telling secrets. I figured a summer of fixing gutters and sorting through her things would be cheaper than therapy. I was wrong. The first weird thing happened in the attic. I was hauling down boxes of old Christmas decorations when I found a cardboard crate marked Alex Kid Stuff in my mom's neat handwriting. Inside were my childhood treasures, a cracked Game Boy, a stack of Pokemon cards, and a plastic Viewmaster with reels of Disney scenes. But wedged between two reels was something else, a glossy sticker, about 3 inches across. Red circle. White triangle. Black dot. No text. No brand. Just that stark, simple design. I turned it over in my hand, and a memory hit me so hard I had to sit down on a dusty trunk. I was 6, maybe 7, sitting cross-legged in front of the TV in our old living room. Saturday morning cartoons. A commercial came on, upbeat music, kids laughing, and a box of cereal sliding across the screen. The logo on the box was that exact design. The voiceover said something like, iOS, see the day in a whole new way. I could taste the cereal in my mouth, crisp, slightly sweet, with tiny marshmallow shapes that looked like eyes. I remembered begging my mom for a box at the grocery store. She'd said no, too much sugar. But the memory was vivid, tactile, real. Except when I asked my sister, Jen, about it later that week, she looked at me like I'd grown a second head. iOS? She said, stirring pasta in her kitchen in Burlington. You mean Cheerios? No, iOS. Red box, weird logo. You seriously don't remember? She laughed. Alex, you used to call Fruit Loops Color Blasts for a year. Kids make stuff up. I let it drop, but the sticker bothered me. I stuck it on my laptop and tried to forget about it. That night, I dreamed of the logo. It was huge, floating in a black sky, and the dot in the center was pulsing. I woke up with my heart racing and the sticker glowing faintly on my desk. Or maybe that was just the streetlight through the blinds. I told myself I was jet-lagged from the drive up from Boston. I told myself a lot of things. The next few days were normal enough. I painted the porch, mowed the lawn, waved at Mrs. Delaney next door who still baked me cookies even though I was 32 and not 8. But the logo kept showing up. Not the sticker, I mean in my head, in the corners of my vision. I'd be standing a windowsill and glance up to see it reflected in the glass for a split second. I'd be pouring coffee and the swirl of milk would form the triangle before dissolving. I started taking photos of anything that even vaguely resembled it. A knot in the wood floor, the way the shadows fell on the staircase. My phone filled up with blurry images. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Thursday, humid and still, the kind of night where the air sticks to your skin. I couldn't sleep. The house was too quiet, the kind of quiet that presses in on you. I went downstairs for a glass of water and noticed the attic door was open. I never left it open. The stairs creaked under my weight as I climbed up, flashlight on my phone cutting through the dark. The crate was still there, lid off, contents spilled across the floor like someone had been rummaging through it. The Viewmaster was cracked in half. The Pokemon cards were scattered. And the sticker was gone. I searched everywhere, under boxes, behind trunks, even in the insulation. Nothing. But as I turned to leave, my flashlight beam caught something on the far wall, where the roof slanted down. Someone had drawn the logo there in red marker, perfect and precise, the black dot filled in with a Sharpie. It was fresh, the ink still smelled sharp and chemical. My hands shook as I took a photo. The timestamp read 2:17 a.m. I'd been asleep until 2:03. I didn't sleep after that. I sat on the porch with a beer, watching the streetlights flicker. At dawn, I drove to the Ashwood Library, a brick building that smelled like old paper and lemon polish. Mrs. Leclerc, the librarian who'd shushed me 1,000 times as a kid, was behind the desk. "Morning, Alex," she said, peering over her glasses. "Haven't seen you since you were knee-high." I forced a smile. "Doing some research. You have old local ads? Like late 90s, early 2000s? She led me to the microfiche room, a closet with a machine that hummed like an angry bee. I spent hours scrolling through grainy scans of the Ashwood Gazette. Nothing. No serial ads, no logos, no mention of iOS. I tried the internet on my phone, same result. Forums about discontinued serials, Reddit threads about Mandela effects, but no one had ever heard of iOS. I was starting to feel like I'd imagined the whole thing. But then I found the yearbook. It was in a box of my mom's things I hadn't unpacked yet, Ashwood High, 2001. I flipped through, laughing at the bad haircuts, when I stopped on a full-page ad in the back. "Support our team! Buy iOS at the concession stand." The logo was there, unmistakable. My stomach dropped. I took the yearbook to Mrs. Leclerc. "This ad?" I said, pointing. "iOS. You remember this?" She adjusted her glasses, frowning. "Honey, that's the Booster Club ad. They sold popcorn and soda. No cereal. But it says..." She looked closer, then shook her head. "Must be a printing error. See the smudge? Looks like someone tried to fix it after the fact." I stared at the page. The logo was crisp, perfect. No smudge. But when I blinked, it was gone, just the Booster Club text and a generic clip art football. I rubbed my eyes. The logo flickered back for a second, then vanished again. Mrs. Leclerc was watching me with concern. "You okay, Alex? You look pale." I mumbled something and left, the yearbook clutched to my chest. In the parking lot, I opened it again. The ad was normal. No logo. No iOS. Just popcorn and soda. That night, I did something stupid. I went back to the attic with a flashlight and a mission. If the logo was real to me, I'd prove it. I tore through every box, every trunk, every dusty corner. I found my old Ninja Turtles action figures, a diary from 5th grade where I'd written about wanting to be an astronaut, a Polaroid of me and Jen at the county fair. But no sticker. No proof. Then I heard it. A soft scrape, like cardboard on wood, coming from the far corner, where the roof met the floor. I froze. The sound came again, deliberate. I shone my flashlight over. Nothing. Just shadows. But the air felt wrong, heavy, like before a storm. I took a step closer, and the scraping stopped. In its place, a whisper. My name. Alex. It wasn't loud. It was intimate, like someone breathing in my ear. I spun around. Empty attic. Hard hammering, I backed toward the stairs. The whisper came again, clearer this time. "You remember." I ran. Down the stairs, slamming the attic door behind me, fumbling with the latch. I didn't stop until I was in the kitchen, lights blazing, hands shaking so bad I could barely hold a glass of water. The house was silent again. Too silent. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table with every light on, staring at my phone. The photos I'd taken, the knot in the floor, the milk swirl, the wall in the attic, were all normal now. Just wood grain. Just coffee. Just blank plaster. But the yearbook ad was still there, mocking me with its bland football. At 6 a.m., I called Jen. She answered groggy, annoyed. "Alex, it's 6 in the morning. The logo," I said. Voice cracking. "It's following me. It's in the house." There was a long pause. "You need help," she said finally. "Like professional help. I'm coming over." She arrived an hour later with coffee and worry. I showed her the attic, the yearbook, my phone. She humored me, climbing the stairs, shining her own flashlight around. The red marker logo was gone. The wall was clean. "See?" she said gently. "It's stress. Mom's stuff, the house, everything. You're seeing things." But as we stood there, something caught my eye. On the floor, half hidden under a box, was the sticker. Red circle. White triangle. Black dot. Jen saw it too. She picked it up, frowning. "This is weird," she admitted. "But it's just a sticker. Probably from some indie brand." "It wasn't there last night," I said. "I swear." She put it in her pocket. "I'm keeping this. And you're coming to stay with me for a few days. No arguments." I didn't fight her. I packed a bag, locked the house, and left. But as we pulled out of the driveway, I glanced in the rearview mirror. The attic window was dark, but for a split second I saw it, the logo, huge and glowing, pressed against the glass from inside. Jen didn't see it. She was looking at the road. That was the start. But it got worse. Much worse. And the scariest part? I'm not sure it's over. Jen's house in Burlington smelled like cinnamon and dog, even though she didn't have a dog. She gave me the guest room with the slanted ceiling and the quilt our grandmother made, told me to shower, and left me with a mug of chamomile that tasted like lawn clippings. I lay on the twin bed staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars I'd helped her stick up when we were kids. They were supposed to fade after a decade. They hadn't. They pulsed faintly, like the dot in the logo. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, the red circle filled the dark behind my lids. Around 3 a.m. I gave up, crept downstairs, and opened my laptop. The sticker was gone. Jen had pocketed it, but I still had the photo I'd taken in the attic. I zoomed in until the pixels blurred. The black dot looked wet, reflective. I could almost see my own face in it. I started searching again. Not forums this time. I dug into local business registries, old trademark databases, anything I could find from 1995 to 2005. Nothing. iOS didn't exist. No patents, no UPC codes, no defunct serial wiki. I even called the number on the back of the 2001 yearbook for the Booster Club. A confused woman told me the concession stand had always sold hot dogs and Pepsi. She'd been volunteering since '98. By sunrise I was shaking from caffeine and dread. Jen found me on the couch, laptop balanced on my knees, eyes bloodshot. "You look like hell," she said, softer than I deserved. "I need to go back," I told her. "There's something in the house," she argued. I argued louder. In the end she drove me herself, gripping the steering wheel so hard her knuckles went white. It was a 40-minute ride of silence and static on the radio. When we pulled onto Maple Lane, the house looked smaller in daylight, almost harmless. Mrs. Delaney was watering petunias. She waved. I didn't wave back. Jen came inside with me. We stood in the foyer, dust motes drifting like slow snow. "Show me," she said. I led her to the attic. The stairs groaned the same as always. The air up top was warmer than it should have been, thick with the smell of old paper and something metallic. The wall was blank. No marker. No logo. But the sticker was back, dead center on the floor, face up, pristine. Jen crouched, picked it up between two fingers. "This is the same one. It keeps moving," I whispered. She turned it over. On the back, in my mom's handwriting, were 3 words I'd never seen before. "Don't look away." Jen's face strained of color. "Mom didn't write this. She hated stickers. Said they ruined furniture." I took it from her. The paper felt warm, pulsing faintly, like a heartbeat. When I blinked, the black dot dilated. Just once. We left the attic fast. Downstairs, Jen paced the kitchen while I stared at the sticker on the table. The red was too bright, almost wet. I grabbed a butter knife and tried to scrape it off the backing. The blade slipped, sliced my thumb. A bead of blood welled up, rolled down my skin, and landed on the white triangle. The blood soaked in. The triangle turned pink, then red, then the whole sticker bled outward like ink in water. Jen gasped. In seconds the entire thing was crimson, glossy, dripping. I dropped it. It hit the table with a soft, wet sound. "Alex," Jen said, voice trembling. "That's not possible." The sticker began to move. Not slide, crawl. Tiny contractions, like a caterpillar. It inched toward the edge of the table, leaving a trail of red that wasn't blood anymore. It was thicker, syrupy. It reached the lip, hesitated, then dropped to the floor with a plop. We watched it scuttle under the fridge. Jen screamed. I don't blame her. I was too stunned to make a sound. We backed out of the kitchen, slammed the door, and stood in the hallway breathing like we'd run a marathon. "We're calling someone," Jen said. "Police, priest, I don't care. There's no one to call," I told her. "This isn't a break-in. It's not a gas leak." She stared at me, eyes wide. "Then what is it?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because at that exact moment, every light in the house flickered. Not the bulbs, the light itself. Like someone dialed the sun down a notch and back up. The shadows on the wall stretched, warped, and for a split second formed the logo, huge and perfect, before snapping back to normal. Jen saw it too. She grabbed my arm so hard it bruised. "We're leaving," she said. "Now." We made it as far as the porch. The front door slammed shut behind us on its own. The deadbolt clicked. Jen rattled the handle. Locked. From the inside. "Back door," I said. We ran around the side of the house. The backyard was overgrown, grass up to my knees. The back door was open, swinging gently in the breeze that wasn't there. Inside, the kitchen light was on. The sticker sat in the middle of the floor, dry now, pristine again. Waiting. Jen stopped at the threshold. "I'm not going in." I understood. I didn't want either. But something pulled me. Not fear, curiosity maybe. Or recognition. Like the house was an old friend I'd forgotten I missed. I stepped inside alone. The air was colder than it should have been for July. The sticker didn't move. I crouched, reached out, and flipped it over with the tip of my finger. The back was blank now. No handwriting. No blood. But the fridge door was open. I hadn't opened it. Jen was still outside. I could see her through the window, phone to her ear, pacing. The fridge light cast a sickly yellow glow across the linoleum. Inside, the shelves were empty except for one thing, a box of cereal. Red. The logo stared up at me. iOS. The box was unopened, plastic wrap intact, but the corners were soft, like it had been handled 1,000 times. I lifted it out. It was heavier than it should have been. The nutrition facts were in a font I didn't recognize. The mascot, a cartoon I was stick arms and legs, waved at me from the back panel. I set it on the counter. My hands shook as I tore the top open. The smell hit me first, sweet, artificial, exactly how I remembered. The bag inside was sealed. I broke it, poured a handful into my palm. The pieces were perfect. Tiny red circles, white triangles, black dots. They looked up at me. I should have thrown them away. Should have burned the box. Instead, I ate one. It crunched. Tasted like childhood and copper. The dot dissolved on my tongue like a communion wafer. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the kitchen light flickered again, longer this time. When it steadied, the box was gone. The counter was empty. My palm was clean. Jen burst through the back door. "I called Dad's old friend Tom, he's a cop now. He's on his way." I turned to her, mouth dry. "It's gone." "What's gone?" "Everything. The box. The cereal. Like it was never here." She looked around wildly. "Alex, you're scaring me." "I'm scaring myself." We waited on the porch for Tom. He showed up in an unmarked cruiser, mid-40s, buzz cut, the kind of calm that comes from seeing too much. Jen explained as best she could. I stayed quiet. Tom listened, nodded, then asked to see the house. We walked him through. Kitchen, attic, living room. Nothing out of place. No sticker. No marker on the wall. No cereal box. He checked the locks, the windows, the fuse box. All normal. Could be a prank, he said finally. Kids, maybe. Or carbon monoxide. You got a detector? Jen nodded. New batteries last month. Tom scratched his chin. I'll file a report. But honestly, get some sleep. Grief does weird things. After he left, Jen tried to convince me to come back to Burlington. I refused. Not because I wasn't scared, I was terrified, but because I needed to understand. The house wasn't done with me. That night, I slept in my childhood bedroom for the first time since coming back. The walls were still the same pale blue, glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling long since peeled off. I left the lights on. At 2:17 a.m. exactly, same as the attic photo timestamp, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You looked. Attached was a photo. Me, standing in the kitchen, holding the cereal box. The timestamp was 10 minutes ago. I was asleep 10 minutes ago. I sat up, heart jackhammering. The room was empty. The door was locked. I checked the windows, latched. The phone buzzed again. Don't look away. I didn't sleep after that. I sat against the headboard, lights blazing, staring at the door. Around 4 a.m. I heard it, the soft scrape of cardboard on wood. Coming from the hallway. Slow, deliberate. Closer. I didn't move. Couldn't. The sound stopped outside my door. Silence stretched, thick and syrupy. Then a whisper, so soft I almost missed it. Alex. My name. Not Jen's voice. Not Mom's. Something in between, layered, like two people speaking at once. The doorknob turned. Slowly. The lock held. The turning stopped. Footsteps retreated down the hall, soft, bare feet on hardwood. I waited until sunrise, then crept out. The hallway was empty. But on the floor, leading from my door to the attic stairs, was a trail of cereal pieces. Red circles. White triangles. Black dots. They stopped at the attic door, which was open again. I followed the trail. Each piece crunched under my bare feet, leaving red dust. At the top, the attic was bathed in gray morning light. The trail ended in the center of the floor. The sticker was there, face up. But now the black dot was gone. Just a white triangle in a red circle. I picked it up. It was cold. On the back, new writing. Not Mom's this time. Mine. From 5th grade, when I practiced cursive for weeks. You're not supposed to remember. I dropped it. The sticker landed face down. The black dot was back. Bigger. Watching. That was when I noticed the wall. The entire far wall, where the roof slanted, was covered. Not with marker. With cereal. Hundreds of pieces glued in perfect formation, forming the logo 20 feet across. The black dot in the center was a hole. Not a hole in the plaster, a hole in the air. Dark, depthless, swirling slowly like smoke. I backed away. My heel crunched on something. I looked down. The trail had multiplied. Cereal pieces everywhere, forming smaller logos that spiraled out from the big one like a fractal. They were moving. Not fast, just enough to notice. Crawling toward me. I ran. Down the stairs, through the house, out the front door. I didn't stop until I was in the middle of Maple Lane, barefoot, panting, the morning air cold on my skin. Mrs. Delaney was on her porch, coffee in hand. She stared. Alex? You okay, hon? I couldn't answer. Behind me, the house looked normal. Curtains still, windows dark. But I knew. Jen's car screeched up 10 minutes later. She'd driven back when I didn't answer her texts. She found me sitting on the curb, knees to chest, staring at nothing. "We're selling the house," she said. "Today." I didn't argue. We called a realtor. She came that afternoon, clipboard in hand, heels clicking on the porch. Jen explained I was going through a hard time. The realtor nodded sympathetically, toured the place, declared it charming, needs TLC. She didn't go in the attic. By evening, the for sale sign was up. Jen drove me to a hotel on the edge of town. I showered until the water ran cold, crawled into bed, and stared at the ceiling. No stars. No logos. Just popcorn texture and bad lighting. I slept for 14 hours. When I woke, Jen was gone. "Work," she texted. There was a note on the nightstand in her handwriting. Realtor called. "Offer already. Some couple from Massachusetts. Closing in 2 weeks." I should have felt relief. Instead, dread pooled in my gut like cold oil. I opened my phone. The photos were back. Not the blurry ones I'd deleted, the new ones. Me asleep in the hotel bed, taken from the foot of the mattress. Timestamp, 3:42 a.m. I was alone in the room. Another text. Same unknown number. "They can't have it." Attached was a photo of the house. The for sale sign was gone. In its place, nailed to the post, was the sticker. Red circle. White triangle. Black dot. The dot was bleeding. I checked out of the hotel, drove back to Ashwood. The sign was there, pristine. No sticker. No blood. But when I stepped onto the porch, the front door was open. Inside, the air was wrong again, thick, expectant. The cereal trail started in the foyer. It led upstairs. I followed it. Past my bedroom, past Mom's, to the attic door. It was closed. The trail stopped at the threshold. But the pieces were arranged differently now. Not logos. Letters. "Come see." The door opened on its own. Slow, creaking. The attic was dark, but I could see the wall. The giant logo was gone. In its place, a perfect circle cut into the plaster, 3 feet across. Beyond it, blackness. Not shadow, absence. Like someone erased a chunk of the world. I stepped closer. The air from the hole was cold, smelled like cereal and ozone. Inside, something moved. Not a shape. A suggestion. The dot, maybe? Or what was behind it? A voice came from the hole. Not a whisper this time. Clear, calm, mine. "Alex," it said. "You started this." I backed away. The circle pulsed, edges flickering like bad film. The cereal pieces on the floor began to rise, floating upward, orbiting the hole like planets around a black sun. I turned and ran. Down the stairs, out the door, into the yard. The realtor's car was in the driveway. She was on the porch, phone to her ear, smiling at something the person on the other end said. She waved. "Alex!" "Perfect timing. The buyers want to meet." I grabbed her arm. "Don't go inside." She frowned. "What?" "Why?" "Just don't." I dragged her to her car. She protested, but I was stronger. I shoved her in, slammed the door. She rolled the window down, confused. "What is wrong with you?" I couldn't explain. I just pointed at the house. "Look at the attic window." She looked. Her face went slack. The logo was there, pressed against the glass from inside. Huge. The black dot blinked. She screamed, floored the gas, and peeled out. I stood in the dust of her departure, staring up at the window. The logo was gone, but I could feel it watching. That night, I didn't go back to the hotel. I sat in my car across the street, engine off, windows down. The house was dark. Quiet. At 2:17 a.m., the attic light came on. Just for a second. Then off. My phone buzzed. "You can't sell what remembers you." I drove away. Fast. Didn't stop until Burlington. Jen met me at the door, eyes red. She'd been crying. "The realtor called," she said. "The buyers backed out. Said the house felt wrong. They're suing for emotional distress." I laughed. Couldn't help it. Hysterical, broken sound. Jen hugged me. It's over. We'll burn it if we have to. But it wasn't over. Because when I closed my eyes that night, in Jen's guest room, the logo was there. Not in my mind. On the ceiling. Real. Glowing faintly. The black dot turned to look at me. And smiled. The smile stayed with me. Not in my head, on the ceiling, real as the popcorn texture, real as the faint hum of Jen's refrigerator downstairs. The black dot had stretched into a crescent, thin and sharp, like a paper cut in the dark. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My throat had closed the way it does in dreams when you try to shout and nothing comes out. I just stared until the glow dimmed, until the logo folded in on itself like a dying star and vanished, leaving only the afterimage burned into my retinas. I didn't sleep again. Not really. I lay there until the sun bled through the blinds, painting stripes across the quilt. When Jen knocked at 7, I was already dressed, shoes on, keys in hand. We're going back, I said. She didn't argue this time. She just grabbed her purse and followed me to the car. The drive to Ashwood was quiet except for the low murmur of NPR. I didn't hear a word of it. My eyes kept drifting to the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the logo floating behind us like a balloon. Nothing. Just maple trees and telephone wires. Maple Lane was empty when we arrived. Mrs. Delaney's curtains were drawn. The for sale sign leaned crooked in the yard, one corner snapped off. Someone had spray painted across the realtor's smiling face, "Not yours." Jen saw it too. She swallowed hard. "Kids," she muttered, but her voice cracked. We went inside. The house smelled different now, sweet, cloying, like someone had spilled an entire box of cereal and left it to rot. The trail was back, thicker than before, a carpet of red circles and white triangles leading from the foyer all the way up the main staircase. The pieces crunched under our shoes, releasing that same artificial strawberry smell I remembered from childhood. Jen covered her nose. "Alex, this is insane. We need to call the fire department." "Burn it." "Not yet." I don't know why I said it. Part of me wanted the house gone. The rest of me needed to see how far the memory went. The trail ended at the attic door. It was closed, but the wood around the knob was splintered, as if something had clawed its way out. Jen reached for the handle. I caught her wrist. "Let me." She didn't fight. I pushed the door open. The attic was wrong. The roof was still there, rafters and insulation and all, but the space felt bigger. The walls had receded, stretching into shadow that didn't match the slant of the roof. The hole in the far wall, the circle I'd seen yesterday, was larger now, maybe 6 feet across. It wasn't dark anymore. It glowed with a soft red light, the exact shade of the circle on the sticker. The air coming from it was warm, humid, like breath. The cereal pieces on the floor weren't scattered anymore. They'd been arranged into a perfect replica of the logo, 20 feet across, the black dot made of hundreds of the tiny marshmallow eyes. They all faced the hole. And they were moving tiny, almost imperceptible twitches, like insects under a microscope. Jen made a small sound, half sob, half laugh. "This isn't happening." I stepped forward. The pieces crunched, then stopped moving. The hole pulsed once, and the red light brightened. Something stepped out of it. Not walked. Stepped. Like it had been waiting on a threshold we couldn't see. It was me. Not a reflection. Not a twin. Me, at maybe 7 years old, in the same Power Rangers t-shirt I'd worn the summer I broke my arm falling off the porch. The shirt was clean, though, and the eyes, my eyes, were wrong. The pupils were black dots, too large, too still. It smiled the same crescent smile I'd seen on the ceiling. "Hi, Alex," it said. My voice, but layered, like a cassette tape played over itself. "You came back." Jen grabbed my arm. "That's not—" "I know," I whispered. The child me tilted its head. "You're not supposed to remember." "But you did. That's why we had to fix it." "Fix what?" My voice came out small. "The leak. It gestured at the hole behind it. Memories aren't supposed to cross. You pulled one through. Now it's pulling you. Jen stepped in front of me, brave or stupid, I'm still not sure. Leave him alone. The thing looked at her, and for a second its smile faltered. You don't remember at all. That's good. You get to stay. It turned back to me. But you have to choose. Come with me, and the leak closes. Stay here, and it spreads. Everyone will remember what never was. The world breaks. I laughed. Couldn't help it. You're telling me I'm the only one who remembers a cereal that doesn't exist, and that's going to end reality? The child me didn't laugh. You think it's just cereal? You open the door. Others will follow. Then cities. Then people. Then everything that never happened will happen. And everything that did will be forgotten. You'll wake up in a world that isn't yours, and no one will know you're gone. Jen's grip on my arm tightened. Alex, don't listen. It's lying. But I could feel it. The truth of it, like a splinter under the skin. The house wasn't haunted. It was a scar. A place where two realities had rubbed together until one tore. And I'd been the friction. The hole pulsed again. The red light flickered, and for a second I saw through it, a kitchen, but not ours. Yellow cabinets, a different table. A box of iOS on the counter, open, pouring itself into a bowl that filled and overflowed without spilling. A woman humming, Mom, but younger, alive. She turned, smiled at someone off screen. Me. The other me. The one who never left. The vision vanished. The child me extended a hand. Its fingers were too long, joints bending wrong. Time's almost up. It said, they're coming to fix it the other way. Who's they? It didn't answer. Just waited. Jen pulled me back toward the stairs. We're leaving. Now. We made it halfway down before the front door slammed. Not wind. A deliberate, heavy thud. Then the deadbolt. Then every door in the house, one after another, like dominoes. The windows followed, glass rattling in frames. The house sealed itself. Jen rattled the attic door behind us. Locked. Alex. I looked back. The child me was still at the top of the stairs, hand outstretched. The hole behind it had grown, edges creeping like frost. The red light painted the walls the color of fresh blood. Last chance, it said. I took Jen's hand. We ran. Not to the front door, we knew it was sealed. To Mom's old bedroom at the back of the house. The window there opened onto the porch roof. We'd escaped that way as kids after sneaking out. I prayed the latch still worked. It did. The window stuck, then gave with a shriek. We tumbled onto the shingles, scrambled down the trellis, and hit the grass running. The house loomed behind us, windows dark, but I could feel it watching. The hole was spreading. I swear I saw the red light leaking through the attic window, painting the sky the color of the logo. We made it to Jen's car. She fumbled the keys, dropped them, cursed. I scooped them up, started the engine. The tires spun in the gravel as we peeled out. In the rearview mirror, the house shrank. But the for sale sign was gone again. In its place, a perfect circle of red light hovered in the air, growing, pulsing. The black dot in the center blinked once. Then the mirror cracked. Not from impact. From the inside. A hairline fracture spider-webbed across the glass, forming the triangle. The dot stared through it. Jen screamed. I floored it. We didn't stop until we hit the highway. My phone buzzed in the cup holder. Unknown number. You chose wrong. The screen glitched. The wallpaper, a photo of me and Jen at graduation, flickered, replaced by the logo. Then the photo again, but wrong. Jen was gone. I was alone in the frame, smiling at nothing. Jen grabbed the phone, hurled it out the window. It shattered on the asphalt, but the buzzing continued faint from the wreckage. Pull over, she said. I did, on the shoulder under a billboard for some insurance company I didn't recognize. We sat there, engine ticking, breathing hard. What do we do? She whispered. I didn't have an answer. But I knew one thing, the leak was spreading. And it was following me. That night, we checked into a motel off I-89. Cash. No ID. The clerk didn't care. The room smelled like mildew and old smoke. Jen showered first. I sat on the bed, staring at my hands. They looked off. The lines on my palms were sharper, like someone had drawn them with a pen. The cut on my thumb from the butter knife was gone. No scar. No mark. Jen came out in a towel, hair dripping. Your turn. I stood under the water until it ran cold. When I wiped the mirror, my reflection smiled a half second after I did. The crescent smile. I didn't tell Jen. We didn't sleep. We sat back to back on the bed, lights on, TV muted. Around 2 a.m., the power flickered. The screen glitched to static, then to a commercial. Saturday morning, 1997. Kids laughing. A box of iOS sliding across a kitchen table. The voiceover. See the day in a whole new way. Jen stared. That's the one you described. The commercial ended. The screen went black. Then text white on red. You can't outrun memory. The TV turned off. The room went dark. Jen found my hand in the dark. Alex? I'm here. But I wasn't sure. At dawn, we drove to the Ashwood Library. Mrs. Leclerc was opening up. She smiled when she saw us, then frowned at our faces. Everything all right? I didn't answer. I went straight to the microfiche room. Jen followed. I loaded the 2001 yearbook reel. The Booster Club ad was there. But now it was different. The text read, "Support our team." By iOS at the concession stand. The logo was crisp, perfect. No smudge. I printed the page. Mrs. Leclerc watched from the doorway. That's new, she said quietly. I swear that wasn't there last week. Jen took the printout. Her hands shook. It's spreading. We left the library. Outside, the sky was wrong. Too red. Not sunrise, the sun was behind the hills. The color of the logo, bleeding across the horizon. People were noticing. Mrs. Delaney stood on her lawn, staring up. A kid on a bike stopped, pointed. Phones came out. Jen grabbed my arm. We have to stop it. How? I don't know. But you started it. You have to finish it. We drove back to the house. The circle of red light was still there, hovering where the for sale sign had been. But now it was larger, 30 feet across, edges flickering. The black dot in the center was an eye. It blinked when we pulled up. The front door was open. Jen hesitated. Together? Together. We stepped inside. The cereal carpet was gone. The house was clean, pristine, like it had been staged for sale. But the air was thick, humming. The attic stairs creaked under an unseen weight. We climbed. The hole was the size of the entire wall now. The red light filled the attic, casting no shadows. The child me stood at the edge, hand outstretched. You came back, it said. Good. Jen stepped forward. Let him go. It looked at her, almost sad. He can't. He's the anchor. The only one who remembers both sides. I moved closer to the hole. The warmth pulled at me, familiar, like crawling into bed after a long day. I could see the other side clearly now, the yellow kitchen, Mom humming, the cereal pouring itself. The other me waved. Alex, Jen said, voice breaking. Don't. But I was tired. So tired of being afraid. Of questioning every memory. Of waking up wondering what was real. I took the child me's hand. Its skin was warm, soft. Mine. I'm sorry, I told Jen. The hole widened. The red light swallowed us. Jen screamed my name. I didn't look back. The last thing I saw was the logo, complete and perfect, branded across the sky like a second sun. Then darkness. Sweet, familiar darkness. And the taste of cereal on my tongue.